Hi, hello, and welcome back to my channel. My name is V Noir, and hit the like button if you want more sort of journalism-esque videos from me. Share it if you need to, and subscribe if you haven't. So, doing a little something different today, and that is talking about Victoria Trading Secret. Oh my god, I think I mixed up Victoria's Secret and Victorian Trading Co. Anyway, doing something a little different today and talking about Victorian Trading Co. Who they are, their disappearance, and honestly what's going on. So it was December 2022. I had placed an order for 2 items and I was looking forward to getting them. I had placed it maybe a few weeks prior and never got an email confirmation. And I thought that was weird because I had purchased from Victorian Trading Co. previously and things were fine. I got my orders and everything like that. The items usually arrive pretty fast. They looked gorgeous when I got them. I got like a few different like tea sets and things like that, like little accessories and stuff. The shop is really cool in that way. They kind of cater to this sort of like old style of furniture, knickknacks, things like that. Really nice stuff. But anyway, so I was like, oh, this is weird. I haven't gotten a confirmation email. And I'm like not thinking too deeply about it. And then it kind of gets beginning of 2023. And I'm like, okay, this is weird. And casually, I'm like, all right, let's just go to the website. And for some reason, the website isn't loading. As if it doesn't exist anymore. And I'm like, that's weird. And I look at my emails and I look at past emails and images aren't loading. Again, as if it doesn't exist anymore. And then I remember that I haven't received this month's catalog, this month being January. And I also thought that was weird. And then I tried to see if I could find any information. I'm like, okay, what's going on? I didn't get my order at this point. I haven't gotten a confirmation about it. The website is down. No emails, no catalog. What's going on? This is really weird and I don't like it. So, I'm Googling and everything like that. And other people are complaining too. Like, I haven't gotten my order. All this stuff about spending this certain amount of money. I believe they got review bombed on Better Business Bureau's website about how, all of this stuff going on. And then I see something, I think on Reddit, and it's someone talking about how they had called the customer service number and the person talking to them while crying apparently was saying how, oh, this company is shutting down and sorry, we won't be able to get your order to you, but we'll give you a refund. And I was like, huh? And so the rabbit hole I went down to figure out what happened. Because, of course, in the beginning, I was really, really upset with Melissa, which is one of the co-founders of Victorian Trading Co. And we always see her photo in the catalogs for the company, the mailers that you get. So, I'm not that I'm on a first name basis with her, but I just to both be familiar and not familiar with her, because calling her by her whole government just feels wrong. I just call her Melissa. So, I'm just I don't want to believe, with my parasocial relationship, that Melissa could ever do this to anybody. So I'm hunting, and I find out that her mom passed away in December. And I'm like, oh, well, okay, that's really sad and upsetting. I basically find her social media and I found out this information and I'm like, oh, that's really sad. And that makes sense if, you know, you had a loss in the family and that's prevented you from essentially running your business. But then I do a little bit more digging and, you know, I'm noticing that she's not really talking about Victorian Trading Co. or anything like that. And there's like a subreddit just for Victorian stuff. And there is a whole thing about what's going on with Victorian Trading Co. And it looks like there's an account called Hopeless Romantic or something like that. I mean, I'll definitely just have screenshots at this point. And they're talking about how they lost the business and it was sad to lose their mom and find out about the closure of their business all at the same time. So this sounds like Melissa at this point in 2022 didn't actually have ownership of Victorian Trading Co. and instead someone else was running it, but, you know, still basically kept everything the same, used her face in it still, because I understand that even though you might not run a company or be a part of it, she's still the founder and they could still use her image in that way to be like, and this is what our founder believes in, and we still hold these values, right? So they can still use her image in that way. So I understand. But then my bigger question was, so if Melissa didn't own it and run it at the end of Victorian Trading Co.'s lifespan, who did? Who owned it? And so, you know, another rabbit hole. I honestly don't know where. Oh, well, actually, no. The Reddit was actually very helpful because thankfully one of the sisters, Melissa's sisters, was using the Hopeless Romantic account to kind of give more information about what happened. And I'm also realizing, let me rewind a little bit and explain what Victorian Trading Company, that's the full name, although they shortened company to co, what Victorian Trading Company is. So it is was essentially part antique shop, part boutique, part knick-knack shop. Their mission of preserving the richness of the most romantic of eras, we capture antiquity in our unique gifts, clothing, and home decor. Yeah, so that was essentially the store. And it felt like a very specific style of things that you couldn't really find, or well, more so it was hard to find authentic and not just mass-produced things, like not just stuff on Amazon, you know, or, I mean, and then, you know, there's Etsy and how they've gone away from caring about smaller crafts and homemade goods, and it's kind of just full of drop shippers right now, which is really frustrating. So anyway, that was the company, and Melissa created it in 1987, so she owned it for a pretty long time, and it's based in Kansas. And so I want to say, based on a particular timeline that I've put together, it seems to me that, at least based on this YouTube channel that I found, and the YouTube channel essentially being created to showcase a few pieces that they were very proud of, and it seemed like sort of a live event for people to order things from the shop in real time and also talk to Melissa and her sister Julie, I believe that's her name. But based on when the videos were posted, it was February 25th, 2020. And that is literally right before we were in lockdown, right before we were hit with COVID-19. and basically before things hit the fan. And so based on that, I kind of believe that more than likely, just like with a lot of businesses, the pandemic really hit them hard and they weren't able to sort of bounce back from that. And she had to sell the company. But again, who owned Victorian Trading Co. at the end there to 2022? So I had to use LinkedIn. Website I have not used in a very long time, and I have video recordings to sort of walk me through this because I was able to just look up Victorian Trading Co., see what pops up. The website again is down. Their Instagram, I believe, doesn't work anymore, and I'm not gonna harass Melissa in her socials because that felt like too much in general. Like, she doesn't deserve that. And I found that the LinkedIn for Victorian Trading Co. still existed. Melissa was still listed as a founder, of course, but I saw a new face. It didn't look like Melissa's sisters at all, and his name is David Frankel. And according to what this LinkedIn says, he owned and ran, well, I should say he ran Victorian Trading Co. as their CEO from April 2021 to December, literally December 2022, because that is literally the month, the year that all of this happened. And so it's not Melissa's fault. She wasn't in charge at all. And unfortunately, she doesn't even own the name Victorian Trading Co. anymore. It's like a trademark and under this guy, David, I believe. Or even if he doesn't own it technically, Melissa doesn't anymore. So she can't recreate Victorian Trading Co. again and try to bring it back to life using that name at least. So I blame David. It's David's fault. Melissa had nothing to do with what happened in December 2022 with all of the orders that were placed and never gotten. And all the money, honestly, that's so much money from people who believed in a company that, you know, they've been shopping from for years, and all of a sudden, you know, you don't get any of your orders, you don't get confirmation, you don't get any, like, it's radio silence, radio static from his side of things, with not telling anyone, oh, you're not gonna get your orders, oh, you're not gonna get a refund either, like nothing at all. Like, that was just like highway robbery, honestly. Like, I can only imagine how many people, especially if they didn't do a chargeback on their purchase, how many people bought stuff and lost like money from trusting in a company that Melissa had created and nurtured an audience, a faithful audience for decades at that point. You know, this is like a huge portrayal of trust on that guy's side of things. I mean, I do think, you know, she should say something. Thankfully, again, in the subreddit, one of the sisters is just like replying to everything. And through that, because I'm checking back in, at this point last year, you know, grief, going through stuff, but I'm also like, I'm just curious because I always have to like get to the bottom of things. And so I check back into the subreddit and I find out that they're coming back with a new business. Melissa and Julie, I believe, are coming back with a new business, Hopeless Romantic Trading. And it's going to be a similar business as Victorian Trading Co. And they, you know, they're dealing with the loss of their mom. And the closure of VTC and those decades of running that place, but from all of that, wanting to create something new. And thankfully, Hopeless Romantic was a branding that Melissa still had control of. And so at this point in time, it does exist. Like, it's now a website, it's now up, it's running. It doesn't feel exactly the same as Victorian Trading Company did, but you can definitely still find similar items that used to be on the Victorian Trading Co. website. I also, from that subreddit, found out that a different company bought all the dead stock from Victorian Trading Co.'s closure, and now they're kind of just selling through stuff through eBay, and I will definitely post that up as well so you can kind of get an idea of what's going on. But yeah, screw that guy. Screw David Frankel for shutting down a business and taking all these people's money without alerting anyone, honestly. Like, I even remember going to the catalog and calling the customer service number on the catalog, and that not existing anymore either. So it's like you couldn't even call customer service and be like, hey, what's going on? And no one would answer. This number didn't exist anymore. And that was super frustrating because I loved Victorian Trading Co. and that was just such a betrayal. But in the end, I'm definitely glad that Melissa, through all this, was able to essentially start brand new with another company, and I'm hoping that whatever happened to cause her to sell Victorian Trading Company doesn't happen again. Hopefully, like, I'm assuming it was because of the pandemic, but I don't know her personally. I don't know her life, so I hope this lasts longer and it doesn't shut down. Or, well, more specifically, I hope it doesn't get sold and then that person shuts it down, like what happened with Victorian Trading Co. And so I believe that'll be it. Again, like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.